Alright, we're going to work on, we got the scales done. Now we're going to work on the scales for the top of the head and the eyes. So what I'm using is, I don't even know what that's called, but it's this. So what I'm going to do is I get in here, let's see if I can see it, and I just kind of make around and what I'm trying to do is just try to oval it, right? You know, like dig it in. Sort of circle it. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's the eye. I'm trying to just go in and out to shape the eye. Kind of hard to do with this because I'm doing the hardest part first. Hard to decide. These make great eyes. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's pretty hard to see with this lighting. You can see the eye right there, right? Let's try the other side maybe. Maybe it might be easier. So just try to line it up to the other one. And you can see, let me see if I can do this better. You can see the forming of the eye there happening. So just keep on working around it. Pretty big eye. That's okay. They got big eyes, these guys, I hear. Or I see on the online. Okay, pretty happy with that. So what we're gonna do next is take this guy off. Hey, that's hot. And we're just gonna go in with a little flame bit. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get the eye socket to kind of come out. I'll show you in a second. I can get this guy out like that. I have no idea where I picked up these bits. Probably Canadian Tire or Princess Auto. They work for the small amount of stuff that I do with them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get to the side of the eye and we're going to take it out. So this is a harder thing to do because now we're in a tighter spot. We're not touching the eye, we're going in front of it. Right? And I'll start to see. Sort of making a canal. I think that's the images I see, because the snake's eye pops out a bit more in the front than it does in the back. I don't know if you can see that, guys, but there's his eye there. It's sort of coming out more. So we're going to work a little bit on the back too, because there's pretty much of a gap from that other tool. So we can sort of bring it out. And this way you can make, like I said, it made a pretty big eye. I could reduce the eye with these tools. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry, it's hard to see, guys. See if I can get the camera to look at this better. So, it's the lighting. Where are you? So you can see the eye there. See how it pops out in his face, so you can see more of his eye. That's what we're going for, right? Make sense? Makes sense. Okay, let's try the other side. Shouldn't be too hard on this one because this is the side that's easier. Bear it down. Sort of giving it a slant, like going downwards for the eye, so that it pops out there. Trying to keep the eye round all the time. It's easy to slip and hit it, and then you're like, uh-oh. That's not good. difficult angles to work with. So since the snake is more in there than it is like a normal one that I do, you really don't want to have one eye bigger than the other. So you know, you keep on looking. Like I noticed that the left eye is bigger than the right, so I have to work on that just a bit to bring it down. I'll try to bring it out towards the nose. Now, I wouldn't be using like an aggressive bit to do this. I would definitely not use an aggressive bit to do this because you don't want to lose half your face. It's sort of like it's a diamond bit, right? So it's just sort of sanding it out. Keep it around. Okay, so that sounds good. We're going to try to get the back of this leveled out. The back of it has a little bit of gap. Always stop and look at what you're doing. Doesn't hurt. Take a quick look. Make sure it's what you like. Shape and everything. Okay, so we got our well, maybe not there. Really important, I stress this a lot, is make sure you have good lighting in your shop. This isn't the best lighting in my shop. It shows a hell of a shadow on everything. Camera-wise, you know, they always say, I looked into cameras and they were saying, your best camera is your phone. It's got everything on it. Okay, I'm happy with that. So, like I said, next thing you'd want to do is take a little chunk of sandpaper, kick things, break things, and then just try to smooth it out. And I'm saying smooth as in around the eyes. Don't touch the eye if you can. You can always draw in your lines back for the top of what you're doing. As in the head scales, I guess you call them. The scaling on the top. That's what we're going to do next, is put that in. Alright, so the eyes are set, and now we're going to go back to drawing in the face pieces, which basically, they're just like the caps on it. It's not very difficult to do, you just want to get some sort of design going on there. Sort of like that. Well, maybe not that. I don't like that. And try to keep, I guess you could say, try to keep the image of what you have sort of similar. It just gives the snake a better look, I guess. So this part here, what we're going to need to do is get ourselves, again, you don't want to go too aggressive, and you don't want them too big. So if you look around and what you got, I have, we'll see, this guy here, maybe. That should be just enough for the lines. And all we're going to do is cut the lines in so that the snake has a sort of a facial, the top part. We'll get back. Alright, so we got our other bit on. What we're going to do is we're just going to get to the head pieces. So this one, we just want to follow the lines we're making and just make our cuts straight as we can. So we're just trying to mimic the lines. This would be a little bit easier if this guy wasn't so crooked, but that's okay. And you'll see more when it's burnt. That's what it looks like. You could sand this stuff out after anyway, so you'll give it a better look. So the pattern I'm using is just random. I don't really have a pattern for how I put my head scales on. I just take it off the internet and sort of work with it. So I'm not copying anybody else, totally. Taking them off of real snakes, obviously. I want to get sued by a snake. Just take your time if you're using a Fordham or a Dremel. Take your time, get in there. You could always, like I said, you could round off the edges after, or what if you think if it's too much. It's up to you. It's a little bit tougher, this one. Like I said, stop and look at what you're doing, so you know that you're in the right spot. You want them to match. I mean, they don't have to be perfect, right? Just matching is good. So these bits you can get anywhere. You can get them at your local stores, hardware stores, I guess. I've had these for a while. They do work well for, like I said, the smaller amounts of stuff that I do with them, like this. Actually, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Alright. So there, we got our snake pretty much taken out, like for the head scales. So we're just going to run a little bit of sandpaper just to get the top off. You can tell when you take the sandpaper, the pieces that need to be either deeper . Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Got my snake. So what will be next step is to burn it. We'll do that. Okay guys, now we're going to burn it to see what it looks like. So the same concept of using the razor tip, which would already burn it, but I'd still be doing it for a while. We're going to check out what it looks like. So just take our torch, turn it on. Doesn't have to be high heat, just enough. So let's check it out. See what we got going on here. We're just getting the top of it burnt. The eyes and the mouth. So we'll be adding paint to this guy. See, he's coming to life. And the scaling would be the same thing. We're just looking at scaling the top. I want to just go up and down slowly. If you get the stick itself, that's fine. You can always be sanded off. See how the scales are popping out itself. Really see them coming to life, hey guys. I find this the best part. You can see your mistakes. You can see where you could sand, or where it needs sanding. You can see where you missed some scales if it really bothers you. You gotta remember, if you're gonna add paint to something like this, the scaling will be hidden. You'll still be visible, but it'll be more hidden afterwards. I don't think I've ever made a snake without painting it or even adding epoxy to it. No, I did the first couple ones on, and they snapped right away under my own weight. You can see it's really popping everything out. And if you want, like I said, you could do the stick too a bit, just to give it some color. You could either stain it or you could even paint it. I've painted them before. Get the head in more, in the mouth. You don't want to stay in one spot too long, because it will end up catching on fire first of all, and it'll really darken more than what you want. We're just trying to get the scales to pop out, so a little bit of a shadowy, I guess, effect to it. But like I said, with the paint that goes on, the burning process kind of defeats the purpose, but it allows me to see what I'm doing. When you're done, you get to actually take a steel brush to it, or sandpaper, sort of wipe off the higher spots that are the too darkened spots if you had burnt a bit too long. I think also, I guess for me, the burning part takes off all the little fuzzy pieces that you didn't get to when you're sanding. And just remember, if you have any bugs in your wood, well, they won't be there anymore. They'll be gone. Alright, there we go. So, let's take a look at what we got going on here. We have our steak that's been burnt. We're going to sand it down a bit, and then the next stage is stain and paint. Stay tuned for that, guys.